Hello, everyone, and welcome to your lighting critique. Normal protocols today. We're going to go through everyone who's on live first, and then we'll go through everybody else alphabetically. All right, so I started here just because I did like a little roulette thing before I started, just to pick someone who, and Sylvain, you are here. We've got your image. So overall, I think this is looking great. I think that you are in a really, really good spot. I love the color scheme. There's a clear, if we kind of check mark through the basics of what makes good composition and lighting. Like you've got, you're directing the viewer's eye. There's lots of good shaping going on in the scene. And there's really kind of creating an almost like this kind of lime green haze coming out of the cabin is almost sci-fi. I don't know exactly what's going on, but it feels like I'm very glad that I'm outside of that cabin and not inside of there is what I'm saying. So, now we're just down to like a couple of like little tweaky things. Something that I like another positive that I'll point out is I love the level of detail. This is a really subtle but like difficult thing to achieve. Like the level of detail that you're getting back here in the far background, and that we are seeing, these shapes, the indication that the world is bigger out there and like continues onward. But it's not like, but we've, like in here, we are minimizing the detail. So it just becomes like a form. It almost looks like those Bambi abstract backgrounds. I think you're doing a really great job of that. The only area that what I would like to see is I think we can get a little bit more contrast right in like down in here. It just feels a little bit like hazy flat down there. And I think we can get just a touch more. And then if there's any opportunity, this one's a little bit tricky to create like a little bit more roll off of value coming down this hill. Like it looks really great coming out of the house, but then it just kind of flattens out a little bit in here. And I'm maybe push this light a little bit further down if that's possible, or it might be a matter of darkening down here a little bit with some like ambient occlusion. But it's really, really tricky with snow. So because like my next comment will be that I think the snow on these trees, if you can isolate, if you have like a mat for those, I think you can make them just like gamma them up just a little bit to make them a little bit brighter, to kind of match the snow color that we're seeing down there. Wow, that was a weird delay. But overall, I think this is looking good. Do you have any questions? I think that you're in a really good spot though.
No, I'll just try to. For the haze in the foreground, I think it's just another layer of fog that I can remove or turn down a bit more.
Yeah, if it's fog on there, just pull back on it a little bit.
Yeah. And for the color, for the light, yeah, I think I can darken a bit for the bottom part, and I'll see if I can just push a bit the light.
Great. All right, cool. Wonderful. All right, let's see. Go through. We've got Marlon. You're on live, right? Yes, I thought I saw you. Hello, Marlon. All right. So first off, this was. Let me pull up I had the animation loaded here somewhere. So the updated camera looks much better. Like that it feels much more. I love the little jiggle on the side of his jowls. I don't know what to call this. As he screams, it's like that's really good. I think that the next phase for you to work on here is again, I just want to see a little bit more color homogeny. Basically, I love the pinkish hue that we're getting out of these rocks here, and I just want to continue shifting. I want basically like this rock and this rock. Although they're different in like this one, the one in the arch around the character is obviously more man-made. I think that I want to just match up their tones because again, if you're looking at the Mad Max Fury Road reference and other deserty scene references, it's just like I can't emphasize enough that dust just blows around and round and round, and it just makes everything like that pink dust would just get on everything. And kind of match those up, and it would really kind of make the scene blend together a little bit better. I think and then the maybe a little bit on the character itself, but like I said, I can sell myself on the idea that the character's been living in this cave back there, and not quite getting enough on it. But I really want to see those values tied together. Let me just pull up Let's just see if there's any other ones. And then I wanted to look at this last frame as well. Yeah, so I think the teeth are a little bit bright and glowy on some of these, especially I think it looks like the ones that are getting backlit. It might be the subsurface being too strong. And then yeah, eye looks pretty good. Scales look great. I love this, like the bounce light that you're getting up underneath. On that one frame, where'd it go? Like this bounce light coming up underneath is really, really nice. That's tying the character into the space. I just want, like, if maybe it's a matter of like throwing a little bit onto the texture if you're able to do that. Just again, because it's like you just kind of want to make this homogenize this scene down a little bit. And you've got some good small details in there now that I think that are helping the scaling, and hiding that brick helps out. Helps out the scaling as well. See, do you have any questions? May not be able to talk. Some people are working and unable to respond to my questions. So if that's the case, I apologize. All right, cool. All right, let's see. And then, go ahead and make sure. Is there anybody else on live that had a submission? I'll start hopping through these alphabetically if that's okay. If not, if I'm missing something, please shout at me. I try to grab everything over the holiday weekend. But yeah. Okay, so we'll start here with Angela. So Angela, overall structurally, I think it's looking really good. The biggest thing for me is that, like, when I was kind of looking at this and kind of thinking about it, the overall values of it. Just do this little trick. Like, I feel like we can go brighter on the street, like all these objects on the street a little bit, and kind of bring them a little bit more forward. Because, like, theoretically, like, all these lights, the street lights and everything, are meant to illuminate the street. Because right now, like, if I just kind of squint and we reduce it to just that luminosity values, I think they kind of, like, everything's kind of similar. So let me just do this. So what I was thinking was pushing this area a little bit brighter overall. And what I just did, up the saturation, so I'll just pull that back just a touch, just to kind of visualize this out. And then make sure, if you can, just like brightening up these values just a little bit more. I would also get a little bit of extra contact shadow down beneath the car, either with some ambient occlusion or just something just to kind of ground it. Oh, don't want that to be black. Just like some, and just like a little bit of extra darkness underneath here would be really beneficial. But yeah, that would be about, those are the big ones. And then saturation looks better in here. I'm wondering, the tree itself, the greens in the tree itself still feel a little bit flat. If you have a separate crypto matte for those, consider increasing the contrast on there, or just like lightening it this way. Might just be a matter of darkening the core of it down a little bit and just playing up the rim lights even more. The way that, like, this character again gets good rim lights on it, and then it's like a little bit darker in the core. I think trying to play that up, and it might just be, yeah, because it, like, the tree itself is just feeling a little bit flat. And then there's some pretty heavy shadows on this side of the box. Just watch out for those. And then the nose on this guy feels a little bit super saturated. Just pull that back just a touch. But everything else is feeling pretty good. Anybody else have any thoughts? Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Yeah. So the light coming from the bottom of the tree, yeah, like, yes, that one should probably be turned off. Because you're right. That feels like it's coming from off camera this way. That doesn't really have like a strong motivation for anything, and you don't really see it much anywhere else. That's a very good point. All right. Oh, Jordan, you're on live. Let's hop over to yours real quick. Gotcha. All right. So just want to play the video. And we're just like blocking this out initially. So it's very cool. And we're looking at some references. Are these up here? Yeah. So very cool. Like obviously like dense, foresty, jungly stuff. Worst case scenario, basically. No, I'm just kidding. Very heavy, difficult lighting scenarios. But the thing that I really like about this camera composition, the layout, is like we're really focusing on this character and kind of swinging around. And then all of a sudden that T-Rex-y bigger dino kind of pops out from back there. And I think that's a really cool reveal. And we need to play that up in the lighting a little bit. So we really need to focus in on, I love the idea of having, again, we got the character running through some light and shadow in through here. And then we really, really need to read that bite down moment, like that hum. So we need some sort of break in the canopy above to allow light to trickle in and really kind of pick that up on the character. And so basically the T-Rex will be emerging from some darkness and pulling forward into that light and chomping down. That'll be really important for the overall read. And then we can allow the character to go away. I've talked about this before, but it's important to build tension in a shot by creating light and dark patches for the character to run through. That will A, make them look like they're running faster, and B, it will really help. Like I said, like that kind of pulsating visualization of light and dark and light and dark and light and dark will really add the drama to this. You're going to want to figure out a way to add some environment or haze or shadow or something. And this is with this heavy foresty stuff. You want to balance out keeping it kind of flat, and so it falls into the background, so we can really focus in on the characters on these heavy action shots, with the idea of like creating, making sure that we're getting shaping by dappling some pockets of light back there. So that'd be about it. Yeah.
But I was curious. You think here I should like block out with the crystal assets and then kind of getting all that dapples and that more realistic living.
It's tricky because I would block out. Yeah, you probably do. Because like the thing I was questioning in my head was whether or not you want to block out some lighting, but what will end up happening is it won't matter, because whatever lighting you put in will probably be blocked by the actual trees and stuff. So at this point, it's probably better to add the real live trees into those, so you can kind of really time that out and get that into place well. At least the hero ones, at least the ones coming down that main corridor there that the characters are running. Maybe not if it's causing too much strain on your machine or your render. Maybe leave the ones in the background off. But I think having them replaced in like that main alleyway that the characters are running through would be very important. Cool. Yeah, I mean they can just be and then yeah. You can just keep them as lovely. Lovely tall skyscrapers of fig trees. That's great. All right, cool. Great. All right. Let's go back to the alphabetical. All right, we've got Bipul here. So this is some reference. This is looking great. It's really strong, powerful. Eyes focused right there in the middle. Beautiful shaping. Scale feels right. Low camera angle feels good. Having the birds in there helps a lot. You're getting that vertical variation where it's nice and dark here towards the base and wrapping up towards the top. The notes I'm going to have are super minor. Like I think the shadow right there in his leg is a little bit too sharp. I would soften that a bit. And the other thing that I really like about the reference, and this comes back to what we were looking at with Sylvain's too, is like there's a little bit more detail in this far background stuff of just seeing some vertical trees back there that I think there's an opportunity to get that in here. Just like a little bit more detail back there to really build out the environment and make it feel nice and deep. And then the only other one too is I think there's a little bit more richness in the darks in the foreground that I think we can get. I think we can pull the darks down just a bit more in some of these areas. But other than that, I think this is a really, really beautiful image. I wonder. The only thing I'm questioning too is whether or not we should push the push the camera up just a little bit. Like maybe this is too much. I'm look at the composition. Shoot that line angle. But I'm wondering if there's just like too much, like basically pulling the character down on a little bit so we don't quite see quite that much. Yeah, maybe give that a try and see if you like that composition better. Just eliminate this stuff. Because there's nothing really down there, and like that way it centers the character in like pretty much dead center of the frame. Yeah, beautiful stuff, man. All right, next up we have Chandler. Make this a little small. All right. So Chandler submitted these two images with the idea of like it being the daylight scene. And the one thing that I really highly encourage you, the one big thing to work on for the next iteration is the amount of bounce light that you want to generate in here. So anytime that you're in your home on a sunny day, I know it's winter, maybe not sunny where a lot of us are, but on a sunny day, just pay attention to how much, especially if you have hardwood floors, how much light that comes in through the window that hits the floor that illuminates the room on the bounce. So like this type of thing. If we're seeing this much bright light hitting here, it's going to really ricochet up and around. Because again, it's bright, like we're exposing the camera for the interior space, which means that the exterior light's going to be very, very bright. Therefore, all of that bounce light, like all of this will ricochet up in here. And the easiest way to do it is to just like put some area lights here that shine back up in that region. And just kind of like spray some extra bounce light. If like this looks like a real-time render engine, so like if you're not getting that naturally in your renderer, you really want to highlight that like bouncing around of warm light. That will make it feel like a bright sunny day. And then you can kind of play around with the rest of it too. But I think for now, that would be my main thing I would focus on is that secondary light bouncing around the scene. Would be really powerful, because then what that does is then it's coming up from underneath, it's creating some like opposite shaping here. It's going to allow and then the other thing will be allowing some of these corners and like this corner down here especially, allow that to go into a little bit more darkness too. But yeah, so just bounce light and then maybe a little ambient occlusion in there if you can. Like I said, this might be a real-time engine. We don't have the capability of doing that for a gameplay thing, but yeah, really work on getting some good bounce light in there. I think that'd be great. All right, cool. Okay, so we've got forum here. So this is the previous version. The reason why I save this is we got the newer one here, and then we've got the reference from Wednesday. So both of these, both the iterations that you have, like the previous one and the new one, are doing good things. I realize these are at different frames. Are doing good things, but like we can slightly. Wait, that's not what I want to do. So both of these are doing good things, but they are doing them. But I want to kind of mix them basically. So the thing that's nice is this one is getting the nice kind of darker values, and then this one's getting the electrics in the blue. So it's almost like I want this one to be kind of right here in the middle, like the electric blue color. and then other one kind of allowing to get some of the darkness in there too. And then I think we can have a better match this. So you can go through, if you want, you can go through the process of rendering out 2 images with each of the lighting setups and combining them. Or if you want to just move on to the next one too, that's fine, because I think that you've like really nailed this idea and really worked this one well. And that I definitely, like, you're definitely getting the purpose of the assignment, and you're probably good to move on to the next one. But I just want to give you some feedback there. So I think you did a really good job with this. It's just like a matter of like, sometimes this stuff is just like a weird little balance, and you never know, like when you find references like this, like you never know how much is shot in camera, how much is tweaked in color timing, how much is tweaked in post, and really kind of nailing that in. So I think you've done a good job with this first assignment. All right, Hadrian was working on some compositing stuff, so we got some reference here. We've got this image. It looks great. I mean, overall, the structure is really good. I love the flying sparks around. You've got some good, looks like some good like subtle light wrap happening around there. The one thing that I would like to see, and this is a little bit more abstract in the reference here, but I like the hard edge of these like sparks around there. I just want to like soften those just a little bit. I think they're good. Like they're really good here in the foreground as they're kind of like firing around, but these ones behind the character up there are are a little bit, like I can see the glow, but I also see like a hard edge on the object. And if they're going to be that bright, we wouldn't be able to pick up like the pure profile outline of them. One thing to be aware of too, when compositing, and let's see if I can do this here. Just, and again, this won't look right because of the fact that this is probably a JPEG or a PNG or something that is not an extended pixel range. But always be like reducing your gamma and your exposure inside a nuke. Because like what I want to check is that like when I'm doing this, I want to make sure that there's still value differences in these brights and in the darks. So if I lift this all the way kind of up and make it like super, super bright, like seeing this stuff kind of clamp out would be a problem like in post effects. And if I'm taking this down in the exposure and I'm not seeing like this start to fade down with it, maybe see some detail in there, that could be some problems as well. So again, it's not going to look good here because this was posted to a Discord server, which means it's probably a PNG or a JPEG. Let's see, I can even tell you it's a PNG, so it's not going to have the extended pixel range to be able to do that. But in compositing, that is an important step in the workflow. And then the other thing I would look at too is just the mask. It just, like there is that hard line down the middle, and I would like to maybe kind of tie that together a little bit more so it just feels like one fluid thing, unless that's a story point. But either way, I think that like that feels a little bit like there's some weird texturing thing going on there. But I love like the focus on the character. Like you can tell it's like super toned down here, and it really allows us to focus in right up there. And I think you did that really, really nicely. And the background looks great too. Let's see something. I mean, if you wanted to get a little bit more detail in some of these buildings, like maybe there's a window light around here or something, you could do that. But like, it's not that important. All right, Holly. Yeah, good stuff overall. I think this is looking a lot better. I just want to get more bounce light up on this character here. And then I want to darken back behind just a little bit more, and maybe down here on this corner too. No, never mind. Forget that second note because I want to keep the pool of light in there. Darken that down. And then color-wise, there's some saturation. Like I love like the color palette right in here, but like this cup, and kind of this character's main fur color, and maybe the nose too, they feel a little bit too saturated, especially in the shadows. So I would even, if you're going to do it, if you want to push more saturation in the image, I would push it onto this character here, because this is the one that's like light and happy and love and life, and this is the one you want to feel a little bit more muted and toned down. But structurally, this is playing together really well. I think this is going to be really good. Just like one final pass of the composition here. The only question I have is like, there's a little bit of dead space here and over here. I can't just push that a little bit more in this character, just a little bit more that way. So it's like there, just a little bit. Right up that middle. Yeah, I think that could work. Yeah, so we'll give that a try and we'll take a look at it for the next one. All right, and we've got Jenty. The reference, the big difference between the reference and the image, I think that you're definitely on the right path, is again, like the bright points. So, I mean, we're seeing the light sources here a little bit more, so it's not exactly a fair comparison. But like structurally, you see like this bright, that bright, that bright, and this one. It's brighter down there, but like we're not quite seeing it to that same level of brightness on the high points. So I think we can push those bright areas a little bit more. And then this one's working really well because the focus is really kind of right here in the center and everything's kind of pushing us in here. And that's kind of like the meeting room, like the purpose of the scene, like kind of communicating that. In yours, we don't quite have that same like layout. So I'm wondering, like maybe there could be something that, because like right now this just feels like a little bit of a, like the collection of objects, but like I'm failing to see the story as much in here. Like this one feels like it's staging a scene that's going to invite some characters into this space. This one, I don't know. Like I want to find a payoff in here. Like if we're setting it up where there's going to be more light kind of coming in here, pushed in a little bit further because it gets a little dark in here. Just to kind of center it up and like create like it's like there's a fireplace lighting the scene, and then we've got this complementary cool light coming in here to kind of like really frame that up. Like what's our payoff in there? Like maybe it is like I think even just having a few of these stools positioned around in a circle just to create like a little feeling of a gathering place, a conversation, like something's about to happen in there. I think that would be really good. Sorry, I've been tuning up this. But I think the structure is going to work. The other thing that you really need to be careful of is balancing like these multiple light sources, and just making sure that like this window light is nice, but it's not like super overpowering. This bright light is nice in that it's realistic, but it's pretty small compared to this one. So really our attention's drawn in over here. So just make sure that you're maintaining a very clear, like this is our primary focus in this region over here. Jordan, we looked at MHD. All right, cool. Great breakdown. Yeah, I love like you don't always have to write these out like this, but like thinking and approaching them this way is perfect because it shows a thoughtfulness and a mindfulness to what you're creating, and that's so important in what we do. We got the Mad Eye Moody reference. This one's great too because it's like very clear, warm versus cool. We've got this window framing him up. The cool light coming in is very subtle. It's just like scraping across the books to get a little bit of specular highlights on them. And so in here, I think there's one couple references too. Yeah, this one too. So same thing, warm light against cool. There's a little bit over here, but like mostly it's all right around the character. And I think that we can do the same thing here. I think. So right now we're doing it like it's a little bit opposite actually. Because like if the character was working at the table, like over there, then we could do the warm versus the cool and we can tone down these, but we've got this going on. So it's almost like a different scenario. maybe we move the light source over here, and then it's like a basking her in the warmth of the light and allowing that light to rim her up. And then we take down these light rays coming through. And then it's just more about the warmth of this light, and then all the cool light is over on this side of the room. That would be my structure if I want to do that warm versus cool thing, because this light like isn't even touching her right now, and so all it's doing is directing our eye away from the character and away from kind of that center, what I think is the center of action here, which is her looking out the window. If instead, like she was a secondary character, there were in fact some little ants that were our main characters crawling across here, stealing these blueprints to what appears to be the Millennium Falcon. Not quite sure, but I can't remember what that is. But that like it really feels like my eye should be driven back there. So I would say either make it so like if this was the setup, put the action over here. If not, let's switch it and maybe move that light and attach it to this or something. And so it's kind of like light shining on her. And maybe she's got, maybe the idea is that her notes are on this trunk and she's looking down at those and reading those as she's observing out the window. And then in certain like other stuff, you just want to watch out for like super sharp lines on light coming through windows. Windows diffuse light a little bit, so it would be softer and it really help for that mood. And then that is an intense amount of stars in that sky outside without much trees or anything else. It's like she herself is on the moon. So maybe consider putting in maybe a tree line or something there to kind of break that up a little bit. And then other notes is just maybe populate these picture frames with some pictures, and then her black shirt and socks underneath the boots there are a little bit pitch black dark, and it would be nice to see a little bit of value and shaping in there. Right. We got all right, we got Raghavendra. All right, so this is the previous one. Oh, sorry, this is the new one. This is the previous one. All right, cool. We're centering the focus a little bit more. I think that the light being spilled on the wall back here feels better in the previous version, but I like that we're picking up a light bulb. So if we can combine those two, that'll be great. The big thing that stood out to me is the red glow on these windows. I almost instead of toning them red, I almost want them to be just tinted darker. So just allow those to go a little bit darker. We're getting some super saturated values, especially on this character here, the nose. It feels like there's some light shining through, and then the shining through the character, the skin feels almost like there's an internal illumination thing going on there. And then, yeah, even this character, the saturations on the blues and especially the reds is really punchy. Pull that back a little bit. So I'm wondering if again, thinking about the focal point, this area is definitely the focal point of this right now. And if that's the case, that's great. We'll just need to tweak a few things in there. But I just want to make sure. So just let me know next time if it is the car, because the car feels like by the framing of the image itself, it feels pretty central and I should be looking at that. But all the lighting is shifting me over to those characters over there. And so I just want to make sure that we are doing that. So if it is the car, I want to see more light from here on here, and then creating just some more shaping coming across. But if it isn't, and we're more looking at these characters, we might want to shift the camera over that way a little bit, just to read them up. And then just watch out for a few things. There seems to be some sort of line kind of cutting through there, and then through here as well. So just watch out for that. Probably just a compositing thing. And then, yeah, also if we don't, if we really kind of want to focus on here, you can really allow some of this stuff to go even a little bit darker, and to just kind of focus this in there. But yeah, this one's making progress. You're refining it, and we're dialing in. That's really good. All right, we got Ubed. So we got several images here from this one. Much better, much more sense of like a punchy sunset, feeling it. We got the glow of that light on there too. We're not distracted by, like we've got the unleaded is now like it's not being illuminated again. That's really good. If a big one for me, car paint. So this car paint doesn't quite like it doesn't have that car paint quality to me. Like it's mostly in the reflections. Like it doesn't quite it like and that it does like it doesn't feel beat up enough to be like an old car that would have some kind of grungy one. Like it like you should see some more detail in the reflections on the surroundings. And this like feels more like brushed metal, like a soda can. So I would look into maybe making some tweaks on that. And then it looks good. The structure of this looks nice. I guess that's the same value. Like this just feels so much brighter to me than this one. It might just be the angle. But like I would expect the sunlight there to be much brighter. But again, could just be the angle on it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think just really refining in that car paint quality or the car paint on the car itself would be well worth it. Because again, that one is kind of like a central focal point of this. Yeah, because like the license plate looks good, interior looks pretty good. Like it's just getting, and the tires look good. It's just like getting that car paint would really make it sing. All right, and then last up we have Vedat. So like love the little mouse animation here. Love the subsurface happening here. I think we need to step structuring this around this character. We've got you have a pocket here, like a little window for them. It's all going to be like it feels very backlit. I just need to find a way to get more light on the character's face because right now it feels like it's probably going to be bounce light being pushed back up in there, and also like to keep the warmth of it. That's going to be tricky. So I think the greens on the grass are a little bit too saturated. And then even though that's green, I want to try playing up some bounce light onto the character that's going to not green it out too much. But basically just add a little bit of like either neutral or slightly warm bounce light on the characters because I want the warmth of the fur and everything to really kind of stand out, even though they're on grass. Because if we hit them with green light, it'll just look desaturated a little bit. I want to get the overall value up. Basically, let me just, and again, just looking at the character here. I want to feel it a little bit a little more pop, a little more warmth. And the other thing is like this lighting structure is set up to really illuminate the house and make the house look good. If we're not dead set on this being like rear illumination, I think we could probably consider having the light come in from the side. And that way we might, and again, this is all just like first pass notes. Like we've got, again, the light coming in back here is a tough lighting setup on this character. But if we swung that light around, if we swung that light around to the side, then we could have it come in here. We could have shadow coming across here. If that light was still behind, we could still get this subsurface going here, and then we could hit some light on the side of the character and really create some shaping coming across. trees, we can make those work. Like the shadow value is nice. But either way, we should tone down the saturation on the greens in the ground. So it's up to you. If you want to keep it as a rear lighting situation, we just got to push some more bounce light into the character. If not, we got to kick that light around to the side, to either the right or left side. And you can play around with it a little bit just to get a little more key light on the character there. All right. I believe that's everyone. If I missed anyone, please let me know. I'll post this later today. I've got to hop to a meeting in 3 minutes, but I will get this recording edited and uploaded for all you to see on YouTube. So thank you all so much for joining in live. We've got a good crowd here. Yeah, looking forward to seeing where you guys progress with these. So keep me posted. Like I said, if I will post responses. I'll post the link in each one of the channels for each one of the images that were submitted for today. Yeah, let me know if I missed anything. Thank you all very much, and I'll talk to you all very soon.
Thank you.
I figured all. Bye.